Assalamu alaikum. I'm Barrister Nabila Hoque, and welcome to episode 14 of Breaking Barrier, a platform where we invite young professionals every week so that we can come to get together for us to know about their professions, them as professionals, and their journey throughout the career. Our guest for tonight is Mr. Mahedi Hasan, FCA. He's the Director of Assurance and Advisory. He's a chartered accountant and an adjunct faculty to the Bangladesh University of Professionals. Without any further delay, I would like to invite Mahedi Bhai to come and join us.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Nabila,
Assalamu
for
alaikum.
and Assalamu alaikum, everybody, and good evening. To start with, already Nabila introduced me, but let me first introduce myself a little bit. You know
Yes,
my
please.
name already. My name is Mahedi Hasan, and by profession, I'm a chartered accountant and a fellow member. As you see in my name, at the end of my name, there is a FCA written. So
See
it
you.
means that fellow chartered accountant of Bangladesh Institute of Chartered Accountant. And as well as I'm also an affiliate member of Chartered Institute of Public Finance Accountancy Body of UK, and as well as I am currently an adjunct faculty of Bangladesh University of Professionals. So that's in short my brief introduction. And currently I'm in my, as already you know that I am a chartered accountant, but currently I am occupying in a chartered accountancy firm which is named ACNABIN. And I've been there for the last 10 years from my very beginning of journey to this chartered accountancy profession. And I'm director of Assurance and Advisory Department. So that's all about me in a brief.
Thank you, Mahedi Bhai. Now, I have a question, which is, if you had to describe yourself with just
Yeah.
3 words, only 3 words, you'll
Yeah.
use. If you had to describe yourself in 3 words, and you will have to also tell us why those particular 3 words you think describes you.
Okay. Also, this is very tough task to describe someone in the three words. So let me try. Let me try. If I describe myself in 3 words with explanation why I choose this, I will first choose proactive, because in my profession this is very needed. And as I believe this is wise and good to not to wait to things go wrong. You have to make sure that you identify and also identify any possible issues before they happen, and introduce changes and processes to ensure that they do not occur. So this is very important for business world. You also understand, or as a lawyer, you have to think through before things go wrong in the
Yes.
courthouse or your client. So I would like to evaluate things before it's happened, and I want to foresee the issues, what could be happen. And if you have foresee things and proactive things and think through, I believe that when situation arises, you can do better. So that's why I found myself in a very proactive situation. And second thing, I think I'm a good team player, because it's all needed. It's all needed because I believe that there is a value in collaboration, and there is a
Yes.
saying, two minds are better than one. And in such a working environment, what I do as this is an accountancy profession, you know, we have to do so many things to deal with the client's issues. So unless there is a team involved, you cannot do the right things. So, and I believe that I have the ability to compromise and show respect to others. Sometimes you have to compromise with your thinking to show respect to others, and to listen to the needs of your team. So while I can be a leader when necessary, but at the same time, I can also play an equal role on the team when the situation demands. So that's why I found myself as a very good team player, if I can
Team player.
explain myself. And the last thing, I'm adaptable, and that's very needed for current scenario. You have to be very fast learner. If the situation is currently going on, which is nobody ever predict this, so you have to first learn and adopt its situation. and I understand that change is very business necessity. So when in this world business, you sometimes have to do things when that you don't necessarily agree with it sometimes. So I have no issues with the change, and I have that confidence in my ability to adjust my actions and behaviors as needed, and consider myself that I am adaptable to all situations, not just change. So this is the three words as you asked to me, and I think this is very needed for current scenario, current business world. These three things are needed for all professionals, and to deal with the adverse situation, changing situation, you have to be
I couldn't agree more. I absolutely agree with you. All those three qualities that you mentioned are required for every professional.
everybody.
In terms of profession, you mentioned that you have been a chartered accountant for the last 10 years, which is a decade, which is a reasonably long tenure. During this tenure, or even during your education, or to the extent that you have reached in your career, what barriers did you have to break to be where you are today?
Okay. I am a chartered accountant by profession for 6 years actually, and it is 10 years journey because I have to be a article student before
Okay.
passing my chartered accountancy. It's three
Okay.
years time that you have to be there. So
Hmm.
I've taken 4 years to completed my chartered accountancy actually. So it's 10 year journey. So during the time. If I say I have to break so many things, but three things again, there is three things I should mention that these three things actually sometimes you have to face and you have to overcome for every profession that we are. So first thing is choice. Whether you choose a chartered accountancy, that's very. Whether you choose to be a lawyer, whether you choose to be an engineer, and whether to be any profession, the choice is the first barrier you have to overcome. And for my perspective, so when I come to become a chartered accountant, I am a graduate of Dhaka University, Faculty of Business Studies, accounting department. So after my graduation, I just come to being a CA. But you know that after BBA, I could have been engaged with that MBA program, which is a regular and lucrative one. But I
Yes.
just leapt over it and come to the CA because I choose it from my very beginning to admit myself in university. I always dreamed of to become a chartered accountant, and I choose this very. Someone will say that this is only 1 year degree for MBA. You could have done it and then come for it. Where this rush? There
It would
was
have
a
been
rush.
an easy cut.
Easy cut, yes. But I have been a rush because at that time there was a situation in university and the result is not coming out in 1 year. So I have to take through on 1 month time. I ask myself whether I wait for it or whether go for the chartered accountancy. So I came to this the ACNABIN where I work for now. I came here for an intern. Then I think through that if I go back to university, I have to wait for another 6 months, maybe or maybe 8 months to the MBA will start. But in the meantime, I could start my CA articleship and I can go further. So I choose over it. So that's one barrier in my mind. I fight myself. There are so many thoughts around because relatives, your friends, and colleagues, so many thoughts will be come around. You can understand. So we go back to MBA, come again after 1 year. So that choice was there, and I have to break it at that point in time. And this was absolutely my decision to stick to my what I think through. And the second thing, I have to change myself. In my university life, I was not that extrovert. So if you are a profession, you are in a profession like this, if you are a lawyer, if you're a chartered accountant, you have to be extrovert. Otherwise, you cannot deal with the clients, you cannot succeed. So I have to think through that these introverts things I have to overcome somehow. So that was a time I have to change myself and refurbish myself. Actually, I should say refurbish myself in a little bit, not a little bit, maybe some extent. Now, what I am talking with confidence that was not there in 9 years, 10 years back. So that challenge change I have to make through myself actually. And
I,
then
I
there was a
relate
challenge.
to this on a personal level. I relate to this particular introvert to extrovert shift
Yeah,
on a personal
that's
level. I know
that's
exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, that's very hard, and I have to
It
go through
is
it.
very hard.
It is
It
very
is.
hard, and I have to go through it. Then I took challenge because one, I chose something, and I left over something which is a lucrative one. Then so many thoughts come around. I have to challenge myself as well, and then there is a environment here where passing rate is something which is not talkable. Not even 1%, 2% people are passing here. Now it is chartered
Extremely
accountants
difficult degree.
and extremely difficult. Currently, not more than 2,000 people are here as a chartered accountant in Bangladesh, although the necessity is like 10,000, 20,000 as per business demand. But it's very hard to overcome. And at the second time, as I come after BBA, I have to deal with people like after 6, 7 months. I see that I have to deal with people or I have to handle people who are even senior by age wise and also academic because I only come from BBA. People are coming after MBA and also from other universities they are coming. So that was a challenge because they are my senior by age and academy, but I am senior because of profession. So that was challenge was there that I have to be myself as a senior of profession, but at the same time their age wise my senior also academic wise, so I have to handle them. So that situation was there, I have to break. And as you know, this type of profession like lawyer, chartered accountants, and even doctors, they have to update every day for the changing
Yes.
world, changing regulation,
Yes.
changing environment, and so many things are there.
Absolutely.
So if you are not update enough, you will not be succeed enough to your profession. So that's one
You'll
challenge
fall
I have.
out of the race.
Yeah, true. And I always tell my students, now I have a student, so I have to tell them, I tell them that you see, you are reading, you are learning so many things now, but when you pass, you have to learn faster and you have to learn more. Because now you are learning to pass and then you are learning to survive. So learning to
So,
survive is much difficult than learning to pass. So now that challenge is there, and every day I have to break it, and I have to take the challenge. So these three things, I think, in my opinion, is very essential part for every professional's life.
I absolutely agree with you. Uh, we were talking about how difficult chartered accountancy is and how uh, the difficulty actually reflects on how niche
Yeah,
the percentage of passing is, and how niche honestly the profession itself is. It's a very niche and a very unique profession, and
true.
it's set to be one of the most demanding professions in the world. I would like to know a bit more from you about the uniqueness of it and why is it so demanding. I understand obviously the demand comes from the scarcity of the amount of people,
Yes.
but even without the scarcity, why is this so demanding in today's world and why do we need more chartered accountants?
Yeah, that's a good question. The uniqueness is already I pointed out that the scarcity is there, and you were
Mm-hmm.
rightly said that it is one of
Mm-hmm.
the most demanding profession in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So two things in our professions are very regardly accepted. One is integrity, and another one is ethics. So you have to be ethical in terms of your delivery. You have to be you have to maintain your integrity when you deliver something. So that becomes very trustworthy in terms of business people, that these professionals are trustworthy in their for their business and also for their work. So the opinion that given by the chartered accountants or the accountant professional, there is so many other names for this accounting professional. So because of this integrity and ethics, there is one thing that this is more respected profession in the world because of these two. And this is not a stereotype accountant, as we understand that accountants only do the accounting like math. No, they are the real problem solver in the business world, because they advise, they are more advisory, they are like more advisor than the accountant, in a sense, not what we understand basic. So accountant in a sense is a business advisor, And for business advisor, you have to, as I said, I have to keep my knowledge up to date all along, maybe day by day, even though for hourly basis I have to update myself if required. So that's actually why it is demanding, because people need it, and people need it. For business people, they need it. Why they are they need the accountants, because they want to know their financial data, they want to know what is happening in the business world, they want to know how they will face problems in upcoming days, and how to overcome it. That is most important, and that's answer lies with the accountants. And that's one thing. Another thing, accountant are not only doing work for the, as I said, the private peoples or the business people. No, they are actually doing these things for public interest, because accountants duty is to not only lies with the business people to consulting, but as well as do it with the ethics that the public interest, like whatever you are doing, there is a tax impact in it, for example. So when is a
Yes.
tax example in it, a tax impact in the business, that's great, directly go to public interest, because that will use for public interest. So accountant are doing whether you are not making any mistakes, as well as to serve to support them, that they will get the maximum benefit as well. So that's why they are working, they are as a protector of public interest as well. And I should say one thing, why it is most demanding in terms of a career, because for accountant there is no recession. And that might be funny, why there is no recession, because if there is a recession, you have to business to stop, even though you have to rethink, you need the accountant to calculate how you will go for. So that's why business accountants are recession free. I always say, people will disagree, but this is the fact, this is the fact. So this is that's why there is so many other things are there, but I think this very three things is very important for the accountants and for the business and for the public, that why this profession is still and demanding on.
Uh, in regards to what you said, I have one more question, which
Yeah,
is,
sure.
where do you see yourself as a professional and the profession itself 10 years from now? Where do you think this will lead to? Where do you think it is heading towards?
Yes, that's very good question, and time bounding question, I should say, because of this pandemic situation, what we are going through, and we don't know when this will end, and what impact will be left over. But for this last 6 or 7 months, what I understand, and also how the business is exposing day by day, that we have to go a very long way with it. For the automation, things will come up, because already things are going online. For example, if I say, in 8 years before, 8 months before, if I want to talk with one of my clients who is sitting in Dubai, sitting in UK, we have to wait for a Skype call, or there is a telephone call, and we have to make it like, we have to think like, there is a time we have to agree, and then maybe a few days later we agree on a time and just call. But now this is a matter of minute, just he send a meeting request and I have to accept, and I have to accept, even it is night for me or day for him. I cannot I cannot excuse, because the facility is there. So the profession is now in a pace where you have to accept the automation. If you don't, if you only think about that, I understand the accounting, I understand few laws which is related to business. No, you have to understand the IT, you have to understand the cyber security as well, because when we are talking here, we cannot say anything which is go beyond go beyond our talking topics, because someone will catch you that this is not what you have to talk. Like a few minutes ago, we are having a conversation with someone. Farad actually tells us that when some question is come around, I have to say I don't answer it, because you have to think through it, that what you are talking about, that will be impact you and your profession, maybe you largely. So that things was also there. So not only accounting, in coming days you have to think through the other things, like your security, that what you are talking in online, and how the profession will be there. And days are coming already. It's won the talking, but for pandemic, I for my prediction, it will be more flourish in 1 and 2 years. That is cryptocurrency, because people are now want to be cashless transaction will be there, because although people are saying pandemic situation business are actually downsiding, but what I see, that now borderless transaction will be more easy now, because people government is now on upper hand to make this sort of things easier, which was not
Yes.
8 months ago. It was not on the table, but they are assessing what was the consequence. But now consequences is left aside. We have to survive, so we have to accept it.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
that things will be there. So as the accounting profession, I would say, for the accountants, they have to accept those things. Not only the accounting, not only the laws, they have to accept that they have to learn how the automation is functioning, how the cloud will go on taking place to our papers, and that will be go to online already there, but people are also maintaining both, but that won't be there. Maybe we are thinking that paperless transaction, but we have a office. But in a few days ago, I was attending a seminar, and they are saying that maybe in 1 and 2 years, people are thinking officeless office, but you don't have any office. Your home will be an office
It will be
already.
your office.
Yes. So that reality you have to take in future, in coming days is, and I think that accounting profession in 10 years will see much more light of technology involved in
In,
accounting, even the laws, even though that was not even in dream that your sorry that the court will happen in online, and it's happened.
virtually.
Yes,
It
it's
is. It
happened
is. It is
virtually.
happening.
It is happening. So that will be there, so you have to accept it in coming days.
Maybe I'll ask in relation to the discussion we were just having. I'll add one more thing, and if you could just shed some light on it. We
Sure.
keep on hearing the term "new normal,"
Yeah.
and how do you think this new normal or this COVID, post COVID situation overall will have an impact on the business and the business world itself? I want to know about the immediate impacts, not the long run impacts.
Yes. Actually, new normal that term still in some people are not accepting it. They are feeling why
I
new
am, I am,
normal.
I am the some people. I refuse to accept it. I want old normal back.
Yeah, yeah, because but we have to accept that things will not be that same as was earlier, because
Same.
when we meet with friends, we have that sense in our mind, but keep distance
Yes.
somehow. So that will be there.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
will be there, and we have to accept it somehow. Maybe some days it will earn out, but who knows? God knows when the gone. So business will be impacted more. Impacted more. Maybe we think is a negative way, but some way there may be in a positive way, because new business are coming around. Like this, just today in morning, I was read that the uh, founder of Zoom is now in the $1 billion category as a owner, which he was
Yes.
not in 8 months ago. He was no, he was not even in the discussion table. Although this Zoom platform is in action many years ago, and universities are using it for their online interactive sessions. But
They are. They are.
in a 10-15 days on April and March, it's now immense value to all over the world actually. So this new new types of business will be come around. Even though those were in old business, they are now shaping up their business in the new format. So, but few things, as you said, what is impacted now? Few things already impacted, like you already know the tourism business is mostly affected. The traveling business, like the airlines, is a highly affected one. So that business is affected. Maybe in long run there will be a different scenario for it. But what already happened, government have taken more intervention in the business people, where they are giving incentives to the businesses. They are taking some sort of all the businesses, they are thinking through it. So that's a good sign that government is coming through to take over and also thinking about the businesses. So that's very good. And also I think that contract free economy will be there, because now we you know that when we made a contract, you have to make documents, you have to be within the law. Maybe there will be come around and situation are coming around, then there will be contract free economy, because only the virtual communication will deal with that contract. So that situation will be there, and cashless economy will be on force since very soon. And now the renew focus was given to the healthcare. That's a good sign. And also for agriculture, because these two things we need for if any sort of court scenario is coming around. And also the education that shifted to online now, so that's a good sign. But there is wrong sign as well for shifting to online, because all the learning are not able to be, because if you tell 1 year boy, 4 years boy to having his KC education or nursery education in online, I think that's very impossible to impossible to do. So not for all education you can do on online, but for the higher education it's a good sign. There might be a possibility, already it's happening, but that the borderless education will be more fostered in coming days. So research will be more fostered, because sometimes in past it was you have to go somewhere and then do the research. But for now that the online platform is more easier for people and acceptable, so that things will be more focused, I should say.
I do have a question about online learning for you, but before that, I have a separate question. Uh,
Sure.
Given the current scenario of how the businesses are being impacted by COVID, and how the new normal situation will actually ultimately have to some extent a detrimental, and to some extent a much more beneficial effect on the business, how important do you think will cross professional networking be in a certain scenario? And how do you think platforms such as BYPA can contribute in such, how would I say, such different territories or such uncharted waters?
That's very good question, and it will be very time bounding question, I should say, because to first of all, if I say very lamely, if you want to foster your business, you need networking. Unless networking,
Absolutely.
you cannot do good in your business. So that's very common thing, that you need to you need to be a networking for cross professional, even though not professional. You have a networking, you should have networking. Unless you know people, unless people know you, you cannot grow. That's very true. But at the same
Absolutely.
time, when we are in a profession where other professions are a complementary to your service, like us, if I say, we are a chartered accountancy firm, and we do audit, we do consultancy, we do tax advisory, we do so many outsourcing things. But when it comes to a legal problem, we can only say that this was saying in the law and these are the spirit. But when it comes to the court cases, when it comes to the court verdicts to need it, I cannot be there, because I don't have that license to be present at the court. So I need a lawyer friend, or maybe in my office I need someone who is a lawyer, who have that license to deal with the court. So that is one thing, that for a profession you need a complementary service as well. Even though, for example, if I say a few years ago I have been with a government project, initiative audits or review. So there was 16 different departments were there, like road transport, health, highways, education. So as an accountant, we know how to deal with the records, how to deal with the laws, how to deal with the process. But when it comes down to making a road, I need an engineer who actually understand it, because I have to verify it as well whether this is happening
Absolutely.
in the right way. So this complementary says I need an engineer friend as well, and that's when I have to hire someone from the engineering fraternity to become to my team and also work with me, even though I need a doctor for the health services to audit. So that's complementary services. Likewise for you, if like a lawyer who is dealing with an amalgamation merger, they need an accountant to do the accounting part as well. So that sort
Absolutely.
of things. So you need cross professional in every aspect of your life. And as you ask where BYPA can contributing, BYPA can contributing a lot, because this is a single platform. We can be so many people here, from a singer to a lawyer to a chartered accountant to a doctor. So many people are
Agreed.
here. So
Absolutely.
when you comes to know something, or you have someone to need you, you readily can pick someone from here. So as I said, having said that, few days ago I seen someone posting that he did some website help, and I see
Mm.
within 5 minutes he gets someone from our platform, and
Yes.
that's why this
Yes.
platform is contributing. And I think we are now growing, and I hope that in future it will grow faster. It will go with so many other professionals, and then we can contribute a lot for myself, for ourselves, and as well as the society as well.
Mahedi, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry, the picture froze, so I was a bit confused whether you could hear me.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
my last question for you for today would be we were speaking about the effectiveness about online lessons, and since
Yeah.
you are a teacher as well, I would want to know from you how effective do you think, because our youth or our students are the future of our country or and the nation. So, how effective do you think this online education is, and how effectively do you think the students are learning from it? And I would also like you to suggest and give a few tips and tricks that the students can pick up, because this is new for everybody. It is also new for them. They were going to the university even 8 months back, and now they're
True,
at
true.
home and studying from. So the environment is different, and everything else has changed. How do you think that they can make the most out of in terms of learning from these online classes?
Yes, thank you. I should say positive things first, because there is so many positive things that are happening around with these online classes. Because first 2 months, people, the students, even the other authorities, they are very
Mhm.
in a hot chair that what will happen next and how we will
Mhm.
conclude a section, even though our SSC examination is still on hold. So that
Mhm.
situation is there. So the universities is come forward and doing these online classes, that is appreciable. And the assessment wise, if you say this is how effective it is, as I said very few minutes before, this is very effective for this sort of learning, like universities learning. So for university level, this is very effective. And just give me an example for it. In
Yes,
past,
please.
when we assess someone in terms of midterm, in terms of quizzes, we have to give questions from the books, from what we give them in terms of like a straightforward question. But
Hmm.
now, as we are assessing one line, to be very cautious, we are giving them analytical questions, like not very
Hmm.
straightforward questions. So this will help them to grow much better, because when we see that the, from the conventional to the basic case type questions will be there, then their
Hmm.
mind will be more relevant walking will be there, and they can learn faster. They can learn the business very faster, because of uh, this is the question pattern what is come from the conventional to this analytical type of questions. So that's one thing, from coming from the very traditional to this interactive type of things. But and it's create meaningful learning, because of you don't have to move. You are in your home and you can attend the classes. like in our Dhaka situation, if I explain to you, if you have a class of 10 and you are living in Uttara and you have to come to Dhaka University, you have to start at 7, and then with
Absolutely.
exhausting with the traffic and other things, you come to class at 10, and then you have to wait somehow for to take your body uh, to to get rid of this fatigue. So that was there. So mind was not working, but now you can start fresh in the morning, come to live, and then have the class, and then go to sleep again. So that's not a problem.
That's the best
So
part. You get to
that's the
sleep
best
between
part.
the classes.
That's the best part. And but there is a other scenario. When you come to university, you can flourish yourself in other way. You can talk to
True.
your friends. So that's environment is different thing. But
True.
the positive things also coming around. But uh, in long run, for research and other education, I think online education will be more effective. But for academic, we have to think that there will be two scenario will be there. There will be partially onlining and partially physical classroom should be there, because unless physical classroom, academic education is not fulfilled to my understanding. And a long time in the online, the fatigue is also come around, for that is online fatigue, and that's not
True.
good for mind. But we have to accept, as I said, new normal. We have to accept it through, and we have to think through it. The people are researching on it, how effective they can make an online classes, with how they can interact. Because when you are in a physical class, you can interact very easily with hundreds of people. But when you online, your screen only shows 40 or 50 people. Less people are not there, and most of the people are off their videos. So that's interaction is somehow missing in that part. But we have to take it, accept it with that scenario. And I will suggest, as you said, to suggest the student, I will suggest them, this is a ample opportunity for you to learn. Because when online learning is there, you can learn, you can rest, you can learn, you can rest. That position is there. So as the scenario is not improving, you have to accept it, unless there is a scenario when you can again go to your university, your college, and have that facility physically. But you have to accept that online classes will be there, online education will be there. And once you accept, you have to ethical as well. Because when you when you sit any exam on online, you have to learn that ethics should be there. So because I cannot, as an examiner, I cannot show everybody at a time in the video screen. So that part is also very important. And if our boys can learn that ethics to his mind, his sense, that will be more effective in our future, that their future, and also for our nation as well.
Thank you so much, Mehdi Bhai. It was such a pleasure to have you. We had such a great discussion. Looking
Thank you.
forward to having a discussion with you again in future. Thank you so much for
It's
joining
my
us
pleasure.
today.
Thank you for being a good host, and I thanks to BYPA for arranging this such platform to have this type of discussion with it. And I will looking forward, and I also look forward that more professionals are come around here, and we will have an effective platform as what we dreamed of. Inshallah, will be
Inshallah.
there.
Inshallah.
Inshallah, will be there.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Mehdi Bhai. Good
Thank you.
night. Allah Hafiz.
Good night. Allah Hafiz.